right? Change. So, friends, I have one important question for you. After the lost liberal decade, with cost and crime up and our economy down, do you think that the Liberals deserve another 4 years term? Or is it time for change? Change to lower the cost for living, right? Change to build new homes so that our young Canadians can afford. Yes, I like that. I love it. Change to bring home safer streets, good jobs, and powerful paycheck. Is that the change you guys want? So let's get this right. We are voting for change, right? Change with a new conservative government that will change the course fast, right? We can't wait. That will cut tax and curb inflation. A government that will change the course to bring home housing, that will cut the red tape and taxes on new homes to get Canada building again for our young people. It's time for change. It's time for Canada to take a different path. And I know just the man who would lead us. And I want to help him bring the change that Canadians desperately need. So friends, please join me and welcome in the next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Poilievre!
Yeah, we fight for what's right. We're wild and we're free from the mountains above. And all you can see is more than just a place where freedom roams.
Ready to vote for change? Who's voting for homes and food you can afford for a change? Who's voting for safe streets for a change? And who's voting to bring home our jobs so we can stand up with strength for a change? Now, before I get into, I love you too, my friend. I love all you. Thank you so much for being here. But before I begin my remarks today, I think we have to take a moment to acknowledge the horrendous attack that was carried out against our wonderful Filipino community in British Columbia very late last night. The number of deceased is still unknown, and all of us should take a moment today to say a wonderful prayer for all of those who've been lost and for the loved ones who have a big hole in their heart today. Thank you very much for your respect for them, and our hearts go out to all of them. And today is a day that we should unite, to unite for hope, for opportunity, for a brighter future for all our people. And the thing that has always united us in Canada is the promise the country makes each one of us. The promise is very simple. It's it's like a contract, a very simple deal. You work hard, you get a great life. You get a beautiful home that you can afford on a safe street, protected by brave troops under a proud flag, that anyone from anywhere can achieve anything. That was the promise the country made my wife Anna and I. We grew up here. We both started from very modest beginnings. But the country said to us, if you work hard, if you give it your all, you follow the rules, put your shoulder to the wheel, you can achieve anything. And my friends, the reason I'm running for Prime Minister is to restore that promise for every single Canadian, for a change. C'est ça la promesse du Canada. We want change. We need change, my friends, because after a lost Liberal decade of rising costs and crime, we cannot afford a fourth Liberal term. We need change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, unleash home building, bring home affordable food and houses so that every single Canadian can have a beautiful life under our wonderful flag. That's the change we need to bring home. Après la décennie perdue des libéraux, on ne peut pas, une décennie perdue des libéraux, de criminalité, de coût de la vie qui s'explose. On ne peut pas payer le prix pour un quatrième mandat. Il faut que ça change avec un nouveau gouvernement conservateur qui va couper les taxes et les impôts, libérer la construction de logements, des maisons et de nos ressources naturelles pour qu'on puisse être fort et se tenir debout pour le Canada. C'est ça le changement que nous choisirons demain aux élections. But my friends, for so many of our fellow citizens, that promise today is broken. Every day I meet people who are just hanging on by a thread. The seniors who are choosing between eating and heating. The single mothers who go to bed with their fridge empty, their stomach empty, and their bank account empty, wondering how they will feed their kids when they wake up in the morning. The families who now in Toronto leave their keys at the front door so that if the car thieves come along, they can just take the car without doing any harm. So many people feel like they have lost control of their lives and that that promise no longer exists. But we are here today with a message of hope that by voting for change, we can restore that promise and that every single family in Pickering and right across the country can have a safe, affordable life and that the sky will be the limit if they work hard. That's the change we're restoring, my friends. And a change requires action. Alicia, I have some bad news for you. I'm canceling your summer vacation. Okay? So if you have a cottage, prepare to rent it out. If you have golf clubs, sell them on eBay. Because we need to take immediate action to bring change to our country. And that is why I have announced 100 days of change. Starting tomorrow, we will pass 3 laws: the Affordability for a Change Act, the Safe Streets for a Change Act, and the Bring Home Our Jobs for a Change Act, all before summer break. Change can't wait. Canadians need change immediately. And that's why they're requiring we get to work with all the parties in the House of Commons. The Affordability for a Change Act will be a very practical reversal of all of the costly policies that have priced you out of homes and foods over the last decade. We know that Wild, uncontrolled liberal spending, spending that Mr. Carney wishes to expand, has caused inflation. And so we will cut back, we will eliminate $55 billion of waste by cutting consultants, streamlining bureaucracy, and cutting back on foreign aid to bring down the deficit, the liberal deficit, by 70%. This will free up more money that we will use to reward hard work again. Right now, income tax and other taxes take more of your money than food, clothing, and shelter combined. We are overtaxed. We are taxed to the max. We want this to be a country where you keep what you earn, because we know a dollar in the hands of the person who earned it will always be better spent than in the hands of the politician who's taxed it. And so, Belen, good to see you. Belen Matthews, our candidate. What's your riding name again?
Don Valley East.
Don Valley East. Give it up to Belen. Belen, do you agree with our plan to cut income tax by 15% so hard work pays off for a change? You're on side. We won't stop there. We will also get rid of the electric car mandate so that you can decide what vehicle you drive. No car tax. We will bring in the Canada First reinvestment tax cut. Zero capital gains tax when you reinvest your money in Canada, building homes, businesses, mines, pipelines, and other. Ashik, what do you think about the idea of giving people lower taxes on work and investment in Canada for a change?
It's the right idea.
There you go. The straight answer from a politician. Nice change, isn't it? How do you like the idea of giving up your vacation to make it happen?
Anything for Canadians.
There you go. That's the attitude. That's the attitude, my friends. Taxes are smothering not only our work and our investment, but they're taxing our energy. The carbon tax, which is still the law of the land, by the way, even though they've hidden it from the pumps for the 28 days leading up to the election. We will axe the entire carbon tax for everyone, for everything, for real, for a change. And then there's housing. Our young people can't afford a place to live. It now takes 20 for our youth. Do we have any of our young people here today? Thank you so much. Our youth have so much hope from our campaign. They want to do they've done everything right. Our young people have done it all right. They worked hard, they got an education, now they have a job. All they do is work, this generation, and yet they feel like they're getting nowhere. They barely pay the rent. I met a guy in Vancouver area yesterday. He's spending $5,000 a month on rent for a very modest home. We have right now the most expensive housing. We have the most expensive housing in the G7, even though we have by far the most land to build on. Look around you. We have so many opportunities to build that land, but the biggest cost for a new home is government. Taxes, red tape, delays. Lawyers, accountants, consultants, lobbyists all have to get paid to drive through construction that takes about 7 or 8 years to even get permitted to get off the ground. 1/3 of every house you buy today is just taxes. More money from a new home goes to bureaucrats in offices than goes to the carpenters, electricians, and plumbers who actually build homes. And to add insult to injury, those tradesmen cannot afford to buy the houses that they build. My friends, we're going to change that. We will take leadership. Conservatives will axe the federal sales tax on new homes to save you 65 grand on a purchase for a change. We will incentivize municipalities to cut their development charges by up to 50 grand together. This will save up to $100,000 of taxes on a new home so that our young people and our seniors, for that matter, can afford a respectable, dignified place to live for a change. That's what we need. Build the homes. I love you too, my friend. You're right, I do have a beautiful family. And thank you. I'm very blessed to have this family. And we're doing this because we want every family to have a beautiful future here in Canada. And thank you. But Canada is a beautiful family. Yes, that's right. I'm getting a lot of help here with my speech. A lot of good material. Who wants change? We want change. Thank you. We're going to bring it home, and we're going to bring hope as well. Hope for everybody. Hope that our economy can generate more opportunity for every single person. We should be the richest country in the world. And that is why we're going to pass the Bring Home Our Jobs for a Change Act. This law will repeal the anti-development liberal laws like C-69, the energy cap, the industrial carbon tax, the tanker ban. We will grant a permit for the Ring of Fire within 6 months of taking office to unleash our incredible strategic minerals. We will approve nuclear plants, power stations, data centers, and countless other major industrial projects. We'll go from the second slowest to the fastest permits anywhere in the OECD. This will unlock six-figure paychecks for our blue-collar workers, of whom we're going to have more. We're going to partner with our unions to train 350,000 tradespeople, young people with boots, not suits. Boots, not suits. We have any tradespeople in the crowd today? And we're not done there. We're going to bring in tax fairness for our traveling trades workers act so they can travel from one job site to another and write off the full cost of food, transportation, and accommodation. We will give a big, beautiful box the size of the back of this truck that will go to every single high school principal with modules for every licensed trade on how young people as young as 14 can get started in a pre-apprenticeship. Train them up, get them working. We want them to bring home the most powerful paychecks imaginable, but in order to do that, we need change. We need to pass these laws to bring the change. And finally, we will pass the Safe Streets for a Change Act. We have to stop the crime for a change. Is there any crime around here? Yeah. What kind of crime have you seen? Auto theft. Home invasions. Yeah. What's that? Jewelry stores. Yes, the videos of jewelry stores being smashed by vehicles driving right in the front glass windows and then taking all the jewelry. They're driving their vehicles right through the glass. And this is the kind of chaos that we had never imagined could happen in Canada. But we know the solution. We will stop the crime. We will repeal the catch and release bail law, C-75. We will repeal house arrest, C-5. Prisoners will do their time behind bars, not in the comfort of their living room. We won't stop there, though. We will repeal the Paul Bernardo get out of jail free card. He will go back to a maximum security penitentiary. There will be life sentences for fentanyl dealers, human traffickers, and large-scale gun smugglers. We will secure our borders with high-powered scanners of shipping containers, watchtowers along the frontier, and 2,000 more CBSA officers. And we will pay for that by canceling the ridiculous multi-billion-dollar gun grab that targets licensed, law-abiding hunters and sport shooters. Our goal is to protect Canadians from criminals, not protect turkeys from hunters. And we will ensure that there's real accountability. Anybody convicted of 3 serious offenses is going to be hit with the 3 strikes, you're outlaw. 3 strikes, no parole, probation, house arrest, or early release. They will do their sentences in jail, minimum of 10 years. And even after that sentence is over, they will not get out unless there is perfect behavior, clean drug tests, and they've learned a new skill that will allow them to be employable in the economy. We're going to stop the crime, my friends. We're going to bring home safety. But to be a truly safe country, we need our people off drugs. 50,000 people have been lost to the fentanyl and the opioid overdoses. We know the solution, my friends. We will invest in treatment and recovery for 50,000 people so that we can bring our loved ones home drug-free for a change. We love you too. And my message to anyone who is suffering from addiction, have hope, hang on, help is on the way. We'll secure our borders and we will honor those in uniform. We will rebuild the Canadian Armed Forces to protect all of us and reassert our sovereignty. We'll build 4 big, powerful new icebreakers to dominate once again in our Arctic waters. We will also re-equip our troops. We will fill the vacancies in the Army, Navy, Air Force, build new landing strips in the Great North, and we will build the first Arctic base since the Cold War, CFB Iqaluit. And we won't stop there. We will ensure that our veterans have the support and respect they deserve. They fought for us. They need a government that will fight for them. My friends, what's that? No, that's right. We will not be offering we'll not be encouraging medical assistance in dying for our veterans. We will offer them a life worth living that they fought for and deserve. That's right. That is the message of hope we bring, and it's the message that I want to impart to every single Canadian. I send the message out to the single mom who's struggling to feed her kids. Have hope. Change is on the way. To the young man who works all day, every day, and yet can barely pay his rent and has no hope of owning a home, let me tell him that hope is coming because change is on the way tomorrow. To the seniors choosing between eating and heating, have hope. Help is on the way for you too. We will bring home Canada's promise in a country where anyone from anywhere can do anything. Dans un pays avec une promesse que chacun qui travaille fort peut avoir une belle vie dans une maison abordable sur une rue sécuritaire sous notre fier drapeau. C'est ça le changement qu'on va apporter. C'est ça la vision que nous allons voter, pour laquelle nous allons voter demain. That is the vision for which we are fighting and for which we will all go out and vote tomorrow. The Canadian promise that hard work gets you a great life in a beautiful, affordable home, protected by brave troops on a safe street under our proud flag. Canada forever. Let's bring it home.
Yeah, we fight for what's right. We're wild and we're free from the mountains above us. And all you can see is more than just a place.